Hello, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca's mother.
That's right, we have a mother takeover today on Not Fit for Print Beauty. It is Mother's Day here in North America, and we're filming this before Mother's Day. Right now, we are actually at brunch while you're watching this, probably. Well, depending upon where you're watching it, although I would like to stay at brunch for a while. That would be nice. We are going out to brunch for Mother's Day with both of your granddaughters, my daughters, and your husband.
Right.
So this is my mother, and I'm going to talk to her a little bit. If you are in a hurry, don't forget to use the very detailed timestamps. We have timestamps down below, Mom, so that people can get to what they want to see, because we are talking, not only are we talking to you today and celebrating Mother's Day, we're also celebrating some new product releases. This is the Seductive Summer Collection palette and shadow sticks from NARS. And you guys know I love NARS. Even with their embarrassing names for their shades, I do love me some NARS. So we're going to be talking about that. And yes, both my mother and I have filmed the demo already. So we have all sorts of different looks on, you know. So don't forget to use those timestamps if you have no time for this mother-daughter nonsense, you know. If, you know, then you can go ahead and get to what you want, because I do have legitimate, real information and swatches coming up. So use those timestamps, and don't forget that you can also check out my content over on Instagram, TikTok, and on Threads. Plus, you know what, Mom? There's a bunch of different ways to be more involved with this community. And if you are my mother, you can just call and nag me. But if you are watching at home, she does. If you are watching at home, you know that in the description bar, not only is there information on Super Thanks, that's money, and on how to purchase these products, there's also information on our $4.99 a month membership, which has lives every week here. And we have free, you like free, a Facebook group, chat group. If my mother could work a computer, she would be on there chatting away. Okay, so definitely use those timestamps down below, and happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. All right, Mom, we're going to talk about NARS. Use the timestamps if you need it, but let me just introduce my mother to you. And this is, everybody always says to me, Rebecca, what's your skincare routine? I do admit that though I have, as Nigella Lawson calls it, a sticky outy tummy, and always have, I do have good skin, and a lot of that is due to genetics. And my mother's skin is amazing. She is in her 80s. A lady doesn't ever tell her actual age, but she is in her 80s.
Mid-80s. Mid to...
No, just mid. Don't age yourself. All right, Mom, tell the people at home, knowing I will be able to edit this, a little bit about you, your name, and all that good stuff.
My name is Margot. I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. I left Chicago at age 20, the day after I graduated from college and got married. My husband and I, and little children, moved 12 times within the first 8 years of our marriage. He was in the service, and then he was in a training program. He is...
Okay, but how long have you been married to Dad?
On June 12th, my husband and I will have been married for 44 years. Sorry, I'm aging us.
That lost it lost its profundity when you had to correct the date, but that's okay. That's a long time.
That's very long. I was a child bride.
No, you weren't. Kind of. You were 20. And I have 2 brothers, so my mother has 3 children, and my brothers are 8 and 9 years older than I am. So I was kind of raised in a way like an only child with 4 parents, you know? Because my brothers were out of the house and away to college by the time they were like 8. So I kind of had the house to myself, huh?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, actually. So my mother and father now live very close, probably a 5-minute walk and a 5-minute drive. You know, because driving, it would be quicker to drive, but you have all the stop signs and stuff. So very close. And I am over there a lot. And my mother and I, what do we love to do together?
We love to cook together.
We love to cook together. As I just told you, we're going to be going out to brunch for Mother's Day. But for the most part, we like to cook meals together. We think that's really fun.
Yeah.
That's the way we bond. Now, my daughters don't like to cook, which saddens me. But I'll tell you one thing that my daughters have in common with my mother. Neither of them really like makeup, really, or fashion. When my daughters like makeup and fashion, they know about it and I know nothing. As I've told you, I had my daughter tell me once, so-and-so's girlfriend works at Sephora and she's like an influencer. And I said, oh, is she now? And she recommended this. So yeah. But the thing in common is neither know about or, you'll see my mother in the demo, she actually asked if she should put moisturizer on first and she already has foundation on and didn't know. She does not like makeup. She's a tomboy.
No, I do like makeup. I just don't know how to put it on. I guess I should take advantage of my daughter's expertise.
What expertise? The whole audience watching this is like, she don't know how to put it on either, lady. No. I just do reviews. I'm not a makeup artist, but I picked up a thing or two from interviewing people. Okay, so Mom, we're glad to have you here today. We are crowded on the set, so I'm sorry if you're not getting the best viewing experience, but you are getting the best viewing experience of the Margot. The mother Margot. And if everyone likes it, we'll have her on more often if we need a very naive viewpoint of the makeup industry.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about what we have at hand. We were going to just do a fun video, but the show must go on, and NARS has a new product lineup, and it's called the Seductive Summer Collection. Mom, NARS is run by famous makeup artists, bi-coastal, so France and New York, Francois NARS. And Francois NARS, my mother might not know, but maybe you know at home, still runs every element of his company. He's a photographer, he's an artist, he's kind of a Renaissance man, and he runs every aspect from all of the ads that they run to naming the products, and NARS always has very kind of risque product names. Francois NARS was the first to do that. And he makes beautiful, beautiful products. When NARS says limited edition, they mean it. So their palettes are generally all limited edition. But NARS has one thing that is not limited edition, and those are some of their shades. So they like to do collections around some of their famous shades, which are of course, Orgasm. They have one called Deep Throat. You don't have to put on blush when you say NARS.
You don't have to put on blush.
Yeah. And then they have this one called Laguna. So this palette is kind of based around Laguna, and you'll find a lot of items in NARS collection that are called Laguna, and sometimes Laguna 1, Laguna 2, Laguna 3. For instance, my mom and I are both wearing this lip balm, which is very comfy, from NARS in the shade Laguna. So you'll see Laguna kind of all over the place. And let's talk about what we got here. The first item, and we have swatches in 2 different lights, is our NARS Laguna Ultimate Face Palette. Now this comes in actually 2 shade choices. This is the light to medium. There's also a medium to deep. And my mother today in our demo is going to be quite helpful. My mother is a very light, cool tone, and I am a very light, medium, neutral tone. So, you know, you'll see how that works. This is an interesting face palette. Let's talk about it. First of all, we have the NARS, and of course it's a kind of a bronzy, coppery palette because it's based around Laguna, which, like I said, is a famous NARS shade for their bronzer. One of the most famous, kind of oldest bronzers really around. You know, I'm sure you could argue with that and go into Max Factor and whatnot, but in terms of high-end or luxury makeup. So we do have a whole face palette here, except for one thing. And first of all, I got to get it open. These are the types of things I usually edit out, but you're here so I won't. You know what it is? It's palette versus nails. Okay, there we go. Now we got it open. Now we're cooking. We've got 2 previously released Laguna bronzer shades right here. Again, this is the light to medium. We will have swatches in a moment. And then we've also got a highlighter and 4 eyeshadow shades inspired by the first ever, which is actually this one right here, Laguna bronzer that Francois NARS did. Okay, so this is a very kind of golden, and you're going to see in the demo, it kind of becomes humorous, but in reality you're going to see that this is definitely a palette for those with either olive skin tones, that'd be beautiful, warm or neutral. My mother has a very cool skin tone. She doesn't quite pull it off beautifully. Money saved. So, but still stay with us because this is going to be uproarious, I'm sure. This is a $59 palette, and it is missing, as you notice, blush. Now, I assume that's because NARS has so many blush palettes that are beautiful, and I tend to use his face palettes. But to me, if I want to travel with something, I do miss the blush. What were they supposed to do for a Laguna blush? I mean, it would have to have been perhaps too bronzy. So my complaint might not be founded. But anyway, we're going to look at all those shades in a moment swatched. And the other part of this collection is this Total Seduction eyeshadow sticks. Now these are $32 each, so they're quite pricey. They come in 8 different shades, and I picked up 3 shades here, which I will swatch for you. Don't Touch, Adults Only, and Oblivion, and my mother and I are going to try that on. These promise to have 16 hours wear, be transfer resistant, smudge proof, and they're not oily, so they're really good if you have oily lids. Now I just said that the Laguna Ultimate Face Palette is not so good if you have cool tone skin, but you'll see that my mother pulls off these pencils pretty well. They're pretty, for the most part, pretty neutral. They're easy to blend, and they have one swipe color. My only issue with them is they have a wind up. So it's one of those, you know, you're not sharpening it, so you don't quite know when it's going to be out. And it just winds up here and then winds back down, and the top has a really nice kind of click mechanism. My only problem is that one of them arrived broken. That would be this one here. I believe it is the Adults Only shade. And so when you got to always, it's going to be wiggly, and then you kind of have to smush it down in there and protect it. And that was one of the 3 I ordered, came that way. So I have a feeling we're going to be hearing about that more as more people delve into this, which is a bit of a shame because it's kind of messy, but they're really nice. Kind of an alternative to a MAC paint pot or a Charlotte Tilbury. Hey mom, what's Charlotte's full name?
Tilbury?
Oh, okay, you usually say Tilsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte Tilbury. My mother invents other. Okay, so we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be using it both as a one and done and a little bit to show how you can enhance your eyeshadow palette with it. It's really nice to put all over your lids if you have an oily lid, and it will keep that oil at bay and then help the powder eyeshadow you put over it stay on, or you can just wear it like that. There are 8 shades, and they go all the way to even a black shade to the lighter, so they're all kind of in neutrals, really easy to work with. Once they set, they're in place, but until then you have a little bit of playtime. So they are very nice, but I do have some issue with the packaging, and I wonder if others will as well. Okay, we're going to go to the swatches now. Let me remind everybody that if you haven't done so yet, you need to click the little button that does what?
I have no idea.
Subscribe.
Oh, that subscribe, please.
I don't say please, I demand it. Yes, you can press the little button that will say subscribe. All right, let's look at some swatches in 2 different lightings. First here, we're going to have studio lighting. And this is, we got our NARS Laguna Ultimate Face Palette. This is the light to medium shades. And you'll see it laid out there as it is in the palette. And then over on my arm, we have the Total Seduction eyeshadow sticks in Don't Touch, Adults Only, and Oblivion, which are very pretty. But you're going to see it better when we take these swatches outside and show them to you.
In the warm California sunshine.
Try it again.
In the warm California sunshine.
Oh, that was well done. All right, take a look at it again. We have the exact same. So we got the Laguna Ultimate Face Palette in light to medium, as it is laid out, followed by the Total Seduction eyeshadow stick. Don't Touch, Adults Only, and Oblivion. All right, we are going, don't worry about things falling apart on the set. You don't have to fix anything. You're a guest. You're not being put to work. All right, so
how unusual.
Do you want her? She's free. She doesn't eat much. Okay, we're lucky I don't have my daughters here too. Can you imagine? It would be like overload. Overload. We're all Capricorns too. What are you? You're a June birthday?
What's Cancer? I'm Cancer.
No comment. All right.
Yes, Cancers are much nicer people than Capricorns.
What?
Yes.
How does she doesn't fall. Okay, so look what we have for you to wear for the demo, Mom. We got a little influencer headband for you. So put this on. And soon my mother is going to, I'm sure, have her own TikTok channel and have millions of followers. So she's ready. All right, are you ready to go to the demo, Mom? All right, let's go to the demo and let's try on all of this NARS makeup. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Okay, Mom, so we have 2 different types of items here, and normally I would be taking on and off this makeup to show everybody, but we're going to do it in one fell swoop and let the swatches speak for the rest of it. But it's interesting here because my mother and I have extremely different skin tones. So I have light, medium, neutral, and my mom is much lighter and cooler. So she's got pink undertones in her skin. Interestingly enough, so in this palette, as you saw in the swatches, we have 2 different bronzers. We have this is the original Laguna. These are the repeats. And this is, I don't know, I'll put it up on screen. Another Laguna. Both are repeats. But I think my mom for bronzing will work better with the original. When I use this palette, will probably swirl the 2 together. But I think for our purposes here, I'm going to do her in the original Laguna and me in the darker Laguna. So I'm going to take, oh, look I made fun of this brush, Mom. It got a nice hair wash. So I told everyone not to hate this brush because it's ugly. This brush has been with me a very long time. It's kind of like a teddy bear. It is overly loved. And so it got a nice little hair wash. So I'm going to do me with this. I'm going to bronze. Now you guys know the way I bronze is I do not contour. I just warm around the perimeter of the face. And I am doing that with kind of this old brush. I got a new brush for you, Mom. And I'm just kind of going around and I am dipping. You probably can't see, but we're squished in here. This is definitely a set for one. All I am doing here is just going around the face with this darker palette. Now, it's kind of funny, Mom, because you saw me put it on, so all you're seeing is how dark it is around there. But if you didn't see it, now you kind of can't unsee it. But if you didn't know, you would just think I was warmed around the face. And then we're going to do my mom in this original Laguna shade, which is one of the most famous bronzers on the market, and certainly one of the oldest. So this is a face palette, so you're going to get everything.
But do you have to put moisturizer on first?
You already have foundation on, so you do not have to put moisturizer on.
I didn't.
I put it on you.
Oh.
So as you see, this lighter shade here really works. You'll have to turn a little more towards me. I'm not doing the best job here, Mom, sorry. This lighter shade is actually really working for my mom, and I'm going to run it onto her cheeks as well. And this is we're just doing a quick kind of bang up job here. Happy Mother's Day. I'm making you look silly. No, I'm not. All right, take a look in the viewfinder and you'll see yourself in the mirror. Okay, so now...
I can't see that far without my glasses. It's too little.
It's too little?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a mirror right here, so you can see it here. All right, so now we have our bronzer on. And the interesting thing about this face palette that's going to upset a lot of people is there's no blush. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera and put a little bit of blush on myself that's good for my skin tone, and a little bit of blush on my mother that's better for her cooler skin tone, and that will actually help ground this a little bit for our different skin tones. So for you guys, for us, this is going to be a minute or two, and for you guys watching at home, it's going to be just lickety split. Okay, we're back. How am I so much taller than you? In real life, I'm not. I feel like I need to do this. Okay, so I put on a blush on my mother. Do you know what the blush is called that I put on you?
Orgasm?
It's called Orgasm. Yeah, NARS has, I guess sex cells or whatever. So NARS has, one of the things we're going to look at right now, too, is called, like, Adults Only. They have all sorts of shocking names. So you're wearing Orgasm blush. I'm wearing Orgasm Flush. But we went with this. Have you guys tried these NARS? They're kind of like a lip balm. But interestingly enough, this is the shade Laguna. And it's really pretty, really easy to put on. You don't have to use a mirror. And it kind of looks nice on both. My mom's wearing it too. And her undertone here, put on a little more. Are you posing for the camera?
Yes. I can't put it on without
a mirror.
Yeah.
My mother said, she went to put it on earlier, and she said, I always use a brush. But you don't have to, because these are kind of lipgonomic. So they, But I think it works on both of us, interestingly enough. So this is fun. Okay,
I like
so
this color.
Yes, it's pretty.
I'd like you to give it to me.
They're all going to be in the comments going, you better give your mom that. Happy Mother's Day. Come take my stuff. Okay, so we are now wearing blush, and hers is a little different than mine, but we're going to make this work. Interestingly enough, and this is great for those of you who are deeper, you can just build the second shade in. I would probably swirl them. But let's take a look at this highlighter now, which I found these all were new shades other than this. So let's highlight a little bit.
Swirl?
I would go into both probably, but just because I'm a bit lazy, I would just take my brush and go like that.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the highlight, and I'm going to show you. My mother didn't know what a highlighter or a bronzer was. So highlighter, Mom, we're going to put on the high points of the cheek where light would hit. So you can do it on the nose. You can put it on the high points of the cheek. And here is the highlighter on me. And it just kind of brings light to your face, makes you look a little bit more awake, okay? So now I'm going to put it on you, and you're going to be real glowy, because we're overdoing it for the camera, so this isn't necessarily how you want. Look at, like a little Instagrammer.
Rebecca, tomorrow I have to go to a formal event. Will you put my makeup on for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
I used to put your makeup on for you when I was home, like when I was in high school. Do you remember that? I did a good job, too, may I add.
Well, that's why I'm asking her again.
Yeah, this is a little bit much, so we're not going to do this. But, you know, and then I like to use, you guys know this, the warmth of my hand to just kind of meld everything together. You could also use a finishing powder, but we're not going to start introducing finishing powders to my mother who didn't know what a bronzer was. Can you imagine? It would be bedlam. It would be bedlam. So I do use my hands sometimes to warm up the product, but you do have to assure everyone that you wash your hands after. Yes. Because they panic in comments. No one knows why. In other words, they think you're making a sandwich or something after. I don't know. Okay, so let's continue on. We've got 2 different things to work with here. And some of these are these shadow sticks. And I think we're just going to do a bunch of different eye looks on both of us. Now, my mother is more mature than I am in many ways, but in age, and therefore has a little bit more movable skin on the eyelid, making it a little bit harder and probably in need of a true makeup artist. I am just a beauty reviewer. So, you know, I'm not going to be doing the greatest job, but let's just kind of see. Let's play around with these. So this is this new Total Seduction eyeshadow stick, and this is in the shade Don't Touch. So let's just do a bunch. Now, we're going to roll this up here, and this is an eyeshadow stick. So again, when you put it on, you have a limited amount of playtime. Don't put it on, scribble it all over your eye, and then go to the next eye because it's going to stay scribbled. So you have a few seconds of playtime, and then it's stuck, they say, for like 16 hours or something like that. Well, you know, you could get it off. You're not stuck with it. But these things do last. And I did swatch these yesterday. I did the swatches, and they were still on my arm after a shower, after whatever. But a lot of people have oilier eyelids. So they have trouble with makeup coming off of their eyelids. So we're going to do this with the powder products in the palette over them, but you don't have to. It does give more staying power. Okay, look at me. Okay, close your eyes, because that's going to help. Because my mom does have slightly sagging eyelids. So I'm just going to gently put this. It doesn't look like I'm being gentle, but I am. If not, she would smack me. She's my mother. Okay. All right. So just go ahead and you can look in there. So what I have done on my mom now is a very, very kind of sparing amount of this first shade, which is called Don't Touch. And I just did it on one eye. And I'm going to give you different eye looks. You get to be like me now, Mom, and wear a little bit. So show everybody else. Just kind of close your eyes, and I will zoom in. And that is very, very gentle. Now, because my mom has some movable skin on her eyes, I do have to do that so when she closes her eyes. But I have to put the product up higher because it makes for almost like an extra hooded eyelid. Now, I have hooded eyelids just genetically, and I think you probably do as well, but then age doesn't do a lot for the
Doesn't help.
It doesn't help, no. On any of us, not just you. Okay, let's look at the second shade here, if I may reach over you. This is called Adults Only. But certainly, I mean, it's eye makeup. Don't let your children wear eye makeup. One of these is broken. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Yeah, Adults Only, and it looks like a child has been... yeah, and that's a problem, you know, because it's going to move around. All right, let's try this one on the other eye. Okay. And this is a real peachy shade, which I'm going to keep them closed real tightly. You're like, lady, I'm doing the best I can. Okay. But I mean, honestly, for your age, Mom, everyone's going to be in the comments, don't use that finger on your mother's eyelids. Stop, she's fine. She's fine. No mothers were hurt in the filming. Okay, so go ahead and take a look at everybody there. And then into the camera, and then I can do a little close-up. So that's really pretty. And close your eyes, both of them.
I want to see what it looks like.
Measure C for...
Did you put
Forget about you. She's got to see.
Did you put it on this and this?
Yeah. And the reason I did that, close your eyes and show everybody. They are there watching you. The reason I put it, see, and you can almost see if I do a close-up, I didn't run it down here very well. And so it's not showing there, right? And this is because I haven't put makeup on my mother in years. So close your eyes again. So now what I did, look at them. What I did was I ran it, close your eyes, all the way down because the skin on her eyelids is so movable. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Okay, let's take a look now at this shade called Oblivion. And Oblivion is one of the deeper shades. All of the shades in this, so as I mentioned, this comes in 8 shades, and it goes all the way like to black. You know, you can have an eyeliner with it. Could you line with this on the waterline? Don't worry, I'm not going to do that to you. Yeah, you totally could. This doesn't have any sparkle or anything. They're just really nice matte. And I think though you can use this as a one and done shade, I think a lot of people will end up using it the same way people use the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize as kind of a base for a powder. So I'm just going to show you. I'll do one eye with this as a base. And what I'm going to do, Mom, only because though I have hooded eyes, I have a little bit more, and my lids are movable too. I'm just going to do a little V right here and a little bit under this eye. And I'm just going to do one eye like this because we're doing different eye looks. So what I did is I just did a little V there and a little bit under just to make it a little darker. I could do the entire lid if I wanted. But all of these shades are going to be very basic and kind of neutrals. I hate to say neutral because that implies that they're neither cool nor warm. And it really depends on the shade. But what I've done here is I have just defined the outside of the eye for powder. And it will just give it a slightly different look than this eye, which I'm not putting any on. But these are great for that. If you have oily eyelids where your shadow is going to melt off or disappear, it's really nice to use something like this underneath. A lot of people use MAC paint pots, right? Same idea, but in a stick. Really easy to use, though I was slightly disappointed that that one came broken. I'm wondering if we're going to start hearing about that. And you do have to make sure that you click the cap shut or they will dry out, which would be a bummer. All right, going...
this one.
What about that one?
Did you use that one?
I did. I used all 3 of them. You've got 2 on. I've got 1 on one eye. Okay, so we have used the highlighter and the bronzer shades in this palette. But as you see, we have 4 eye shades. I suppose that NARS feels they have enough blush palettes to complement this. And it's really funny because Hourglass will do these full palettes and everyone's like, where's the bronzer? It's hardly a face palette. So I am left wishing that there were a little bit of a blush, but I get it. Laguna is in itself a bronzer shade, so we're going to have bronzer. I get
So
it.
I don't put blush on that?
We already put blush on, remember?
When?
That's the Orgasm. That's a blush.
Oh.
Okay, so I've got some Rephr brushes to use here now. And this one is a synthetic Rephr brush. They're really nice. And like I keep saying, Wayne Goss is coming out with some synthetic brushes too, so I'm excited about that. So what I'm going to do on this eye here, I'm going to do a little bit of this peach shade right here on this eye. And this one I'll do all over the lid, which is interesting because on my mother, I did a shade that's slightly similar to this in the eye stick. One of your eyes is done with a slightly similar shade. Look at them. Look at them. That eye right there is slightly similar to this eye on me. So, and then I'm going to take this shade here, and in the corner, I'm just going to darken it a little bit, just like I did with that pencil. That's that deep shade. Then we have 2 shades here. And don't worry, Mom, I got clean pencils for you. I got clean brushes. Okay, you have my cooties already. Okay, so this is this highlighter here. And I'm just going to put it, I'm sorry if you can't see well. We're crowded here today. Thankfully, every day is not Mother's Day. And then I'm going
to... I wouldn't mind.
I would. Because Mother's Day, like a real Mother's Day would be that they all leave us alone.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen. I can hear my daughter texting in the background right now. And it's not, and we're filming this before Mother's Day. Okay, so there's one eye look on me. And this is combined with a pencil. Now let me do a little bit on this person right here, this interloper right here. I'm going to actually use this shade. So go ahead and close your eyes. And I'm reaching over her, you guys. So this is going to be reached over. This is not, open your eyes and look up. This is not going to be perfectly done. She can take a look there. I would not suggest doing someone's makeup by reaching across at them.
This is just too red. I think that's hideous on me.
Yeah, it's not good for your skin color.
No, it's awful. It's awful.
So for those people with light, pale, cool toned skin, what do you say about this palette?
It's not good.
I love NARS and every product that they make. My mother speaks for herself and not fit for print beauty, says the legal team.
It,
Well, so this palette is a bit...
awful. I mean, this, look at me. It looks awful.
Okay, let me see this eye. Close your eyes. So you would stick more to the... Okay, try this. This is a little more subtle. Go ahead and look at that.
That's better, but I still...
Okay, well, the reason that my mother isn't in love with this makes perfect sense. These are orangey, warm shades. They don't really work for her skin tone. But interestingly enough, though, those kind of more neutral-leaning pencils did work for her, actually. Now, let me do a separate eye look on myself. Now, because I have a more neutral skin tone than my mother, it can work on me, but I'm very lucky. Let me do a one and done with this gold look. I'm just going to put this kind of golden shade all the way across my lid. And remember, this is the eye that we have no, I understand I'm at the side, guys. We have no pencil on. Kind of a one and done shade. So the one thing we can say for sure, I think the bronzer, the original Laguna really works well on someone with a pale, cooler skin tone. I could do either. I am very lucky in that I'm a light, medium, neutral. You are a much lighter pale. You have the Victorian child complexion. The tuberculosis Victorian child. So it's kind of light, cooler tone. It's not going to work. I think that's obvious though. But you know, the interestingly enough though, those base little sticks actually worked for you. When we tried to apply this very warm bronzy eyeshadow, which very much fits in with Laguna, it didn't work. That was a bridge too far. That was a little bit too far. But everything else, you got this on your nosy here. Okay, but everything I'll fix her up. We haven't filmed the intro yet, and I'll fix you up before that. Now on me though, I got two different eye looks going. I'm light, medium, and neutral. If you are cool toned, even if your skin tone is deeper than mine and you're cool tone, you do have to look out for it. NARS would be the first to raise their hand and go, hey, I mean, it's a Laguna palette. You got to look good in that shade. It's not the company's fault, but you got to choose based on your skin tone. And in a weird way, you guys, I am super lucky in the fact that I have light, medium, or certainly neutral skin tone, because I can go a lot of different ways. And if your skin tone is severely cool or severely warm, and I don't have to tell you guys this, it does limit your choices, or you can look at it as it saves you money, right? Because that does not look good.
Because this looks awful.
I also did it by reaching across a table, and you should see how I'm sitting here, you guys. Like I'm splayed out, you know. So, at any rate, be careful what you choose. But we still had a good time. Happy Mother's Day, Mother.
I love you, dear.
Oh,
I do.
all right, well, we love you. We hope you have a happy Mother's Day wherever you are. Now, Mother's Day is just here, I think, in North America. But we will welcome all of you no matter where you are. And happy Mother's Day. We'll be back to our normal set next time without this interloper here hogging the spotlight. So, okay, thank you so much for watching. If you need some better swatches, I do understand this was a bit of a cumbersome attempt at it. If you need better swatches or anything like that, please don't hesitate to ask. And I will wear these looks in other videos because we've done a few different tricky things here and reaching across and whatnot. But everything will indeed be listed down below. Don't forget to share. And of course they should do what?
Subscribe.
There you go. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. Happy Mother's Day.